Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to an edition of Perth by Night. We find in this scene one of the Malkavians, Mr. Harris, attempting to locate his missing clan member. Cursory investigation reveals that Dr. Pierce has not shown up for work, hasn't been seen outside his or within his domain or any of the local kindred haunts for a month or so. Mr. Harris knows of, at least on paper, where Dr. Pierce keeps his residence. And so in another, what he hopes not futile attempt to try and find his missing clanmate, has come to this rather quaint suburban area of Perth. A small two-story house within a typical 2.5 family neighborhood with an immaculately mown lawn and neighborhood watch signs all over. As he goes up the beautifully decorated garden and quaint water feature, he sees that Dr. Pierce's red pedal bike and helmet lies a little askew on the side of the house.
Well, unless he's decided to go off for a walk, should be the place. Leon looks to see if there's a doorbell or, failing that, a knocker.
As you approach the white painted door with the antiquated door knocker, you can see that the door is left ajar.
Well, first Leon knocks on that, and since that naturally will move an ajar door further open, he then calls out, "Is anyone home?"
With his, have you got all specs?
Oh yes, all the way up to full.
You move through the hallway and see the shoes and coats and a small bowl on a little coffee table where many keys have been kept. Peer through to see a living room, barely used, layer of dust upon the rather gauche flower-arranged furniture. There is a small kitchen to the side, similarly immaculately clean but very disused due to the dust, and a wooden slatted staircase up to an attic.
James, are you there?
You can hear that there is mumbling and a slight creaking coming from upstairs.
Well, unless the Gaki decided to go hunting, that's probably him. Now, Leon starts heading up these stairs.
The floorboards creak rather ominously as you head up towards the attic, past the first floor. And as you lift the door, you see that in this dimly lit attic are rows upon rows of cardboard boxes, all stacked very neatly, some stacked so high that they're precarious to fall over. Strange old 70s style hanging lights swing precariously from the numerous wires that circulate the wooden slats of the roof. The small amount of tables and chairs are also piled high with newspapers and more of these boxes. And within this dark gloom you can see a shape. And the mumbling with your auspex can see that it is counting, a strange rhythmic tone to it, like a child's nursery rhyme. And you can see on this endless supply a very emancipated James Pearce, white as a sheet, his features gaunt from loss of blood. He's simply sitting at his desk and writing small handwritten labels, tying them with small bows, and then putting them onto these boxes and setting them aside. You can also see on one of the tables a set of DIY tools, including pliers and various other instruments covered in dried, browned blood.
James, have you fed recently?
I fed last night. I just got
That night, was that in April or May?
It was like May the 2nd, 2014, 4 p.m.
That was 4 nights ago. And
I'm nearly done. I'm nearly done. Just doing the books and making sure everything is up to date.
Yes, I see. You really do need to get some people who are actually willing to come to you to be fed upon as a practical matter.
I've only got around 20 or so more labels to make.
And how long does it take to make a label?
No, it depends entirely on the complexity of the label.
Of course. Have you even heard the recent news?
What news?
The Primogen are all buggering back home. They're, apparently the place is a bit too dangerous for their taste, so they've decided to head back to where they already have a power structure in place. Understandable, since they're elders, and if you're an elder, you usually don't view your own life as expendable.
I mean, what could possibly be so dangerous in this fine city?
Well, wasn't one of them diablerized? I think it was the Ventru. The other who was killed, I forget which. I heard several different rumors.
Where are my manners? Would you like some tea?
Oh, no, thank you. Go ahead and continue working on your collection.
So the Ventru have decided to devour their elder. That is sad times indeed. Who'd have thought that such a clean clan would waste themselves so?
Oh, considering some of the rumors I've heard about, well, some of the more prominent members of their family, back in the bad old days before either of us were even born. But in any case, we need to select new Primogen. And as far as I can tell, I was certain I'd felt someone else here besides the two of us, but either they left or they're not here yet.
Maybe it's not their time to be here.
Yes, well, we'll see.
It's relative. Are you wanted to take the mantle, Leon?
Hadn't really thought about it that way. I could. I was figuring you'd take it and I'd become hand, but that could also work. Which would you prefer?
Well, I'm always here for the benefit of my friends and kin. If you believe you can lead our fair city in a just and sublime way, then I will happily support you. But if you feel it is too much responsibility, that you have your own concerns, then I will take the mantle for you and keep the seat warm.
Well, considering that at the moment it's just us two until some others decide to emigrate. And Leon, looks at James and his. It's like, well, there are advantages to either one of us being Primogen. You are, I believe, the elder of the two of us. That said, I can at least claim to having been a vampire for 50 years minimum. In a short while, I might be considered an ancilla myself, or ancilla. Latin and English having their different pronunciation rules. Sorry. Today's, I fed shortly before coming here, and they're leaking. I'm hearing them a bit louder than I normally do.
Oh, that is quite an affliction. You wish to talk about?
Not so much an affliction, just I believe everyone here gets to have, once you feed on them, has a bit of themselves that they leave inside you. I'm just better at hearing it, or better at listening. Not sure which. But
You're being a fair diplomat.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said, I hope you're being a fair diplomat. Here in the room.
Oh, this one's a philologist who is. Well, he's out seeking spiritual enlightenment, and I'm doing my best to give it to him.
That is a fine thing.
But, well, as with all, well, they call themselves linguists now, but I still remember it as philologists. As with all of them, they tend to have very distracting tangents at times.
That's the problem with people that don't know when the turn to speak. Why I employ the speaking stick in my AA meetings. Once to get a word in. But not enough people listen. Truly listen, Leon. Yours is a rare gift.
Oh, thank you. I've often found that if you actually listen to what people are saying rather than just wait your turn to talk, well, it unnerves people.
There's so few true listeners in this world, Leon, that people don't know how to deal with it.
I'd like to say that the internet has made it worse, but I've lived long enough to know that's a lie.
So, I'm all done up here.
Oh, good. Let's get you some blood. You need it.
I do feel a little uncoiling in my in my soul, as it were. It gets a little impetuous, but when you let the work catch up, you kind of have to get it all done eventually.
Oh, yes. I was just going to remark, do you ever see the Matrix sequels? Horrible movies that they were.
Oh, I don't think... was it a romantic comedy?
No.
No, apologies. When I spend my infrequent visits to the moving pictures, You generally go for something of a ladder note.
Well, when I saw the first Matrix movie, I was impressed at how they could express in the space of 2 hours what some people try and spend 40 books in their entire lifetime trying to express. And then the sequels came, and I figured that was just a fluke.
Well, sometimes it's a well-placed sentence rather than 5 books that truly gets a message across. You
And
must admire the mortals for that in their brief little time, that they can really make a spark intellectually when it suits them.
part of me is sad I never got to meet Nietzsche even after he went insane.
I thought he was one of us.
Oh, everyone likes to claim famous people. Do you know how many clans have claimed Rasputin?
Probably all of them.
I know our clan has. I've heard rumors that the Shamasei have, but they like to claim anyone that's from Eastern Europe and are famous. Uh, who else? I don't know.
I suspect, due to his sorcerous nature, the Tremere, or
Most
perhaps even the
likely.
Nosferatu, due to the tales of Baba Yaga.
Yes. But I'm fairly certain he was just a human. Humans are capable of astonishing feats in and of themselves.
Isn't that the case?
But, yes, in any case, let's go get you fed.
As a captain, my
For
dear.
you to get much less fed and lose control, and then someone would have to step in and cover that up, and you'd end up owing foods to them. It would be a hassle.
That would be a problematic situation, Leon. I would, and I hope it wouldn't go that far.
Yes. Well,
Let's make an evening of it. You can come and be in my domain for a little walk around the park.
certainly. Of
Excuse me, I just need to freshen up.
course.
And James goes into the bathroom, washes himself meticulously, hands face, combs his hair, makes him look a little more presentable. He's still gaunt, but due to his blush of health, it probably just looks like he's very ill, more than undead.
Well, you look better. You still look like one of the twins from the Matrix movies, but, well, except for the hair. And if you had their hair, I'd be really worried.
It sounds like I'm going to have to rent this video.
Yes, I'd watch. I would actually purchase the first movie, but only rent the other two. They're not really worth rewatching.
I do like going to the local video store and renting movies. I don't have a lot of space in the old place. A lot of films and videotapes tend to clutter.
Yes, it is a problem that tends to come up. So, let us go out and seek sustenance.
The two hop. Well, does Leon drive?
Leon, actually, I forget if I actually have the drive skill. He does. In fact, he
Yes. We can carpool.
asks any Judo means the hospital, isn't it?
It is the area around it.
Well, at the very least, we can go there. You should know the. That should make it a bit easier for you. And starts the car and very. And actually, sets up a little GPS to start heading that way. It's like, I like these. They're like a map, only I don't have to worry about unfolding and refolding it again.
That is quite a device you have there.
Yes, global positioning system. It checks how far you are from satellites in order to determine where you are.
I see, but doesn't that mean that other people can tell where you are?
If they know as I understand, if they know the exact identity to trace, possibly. But I do not think that this, when it comes down to it, you have the same problem just having a cell phone, and everyone has a cell phone.
Just the times we live in, I suppose.
Yes, but now it's much reminds me of learning how to dead reckon back when I was in the Navy.
The two soon drive towards the South Perth Hospital. James points out a few of the late-night cafes and bars that are predominantly used for out-of-hours hospital staff.
Anywhere in particular you'd like to stop?
Well, I think I'd rather, in my current state, not go anywhere where someone might recognize me. So we'll hit in somewhere that I generally don't go. I don't partake in alcoholic beverages, at least not deliberately. Perhaps this quaint little bar.
Right. Well, let's go there.
James swoops in through to the bar, like he's very nonchalantly, like he's shopping in a supermarket, eyeing up the clientele, and joining, pretty much being a bit of a busybody, joining in other people's conversations when he's not really wanted, acting as sage advice, and he'll be rolling his charisma and subterfuge to drain. It's in his domain, so the DC will be with domain size 3. Because I'm just so damn friendly with my winning smile. Or I can use manipulation exactly the same, both the specialties. So 4 slash dice, DC 3. Oh, and I've got friendly face as well, so that's DC 2.
Which can't actually lower this difficulty below 3, but that's nice.
Oh, thank God, look at the ones.
Oh, God.
So with the specialty, that's 3 blood pool.
Yeah,
So he manages to coax a med student with conversations about modern ethics and going through a lot of the new theories and, I suppose, the ethic quandary of people within life support and when it's best to let go, and basically after a few conversations using his natural charm to be able to take her to a more private area, but only drains 3 blood points, making her feel woozy from the alcohol, claiming, of course, that some heartless vagabond has spiked her drink and happily pays for a cab to go home.
Leon actually, he orders a drink and, well, he doesn't actually appear to drink it. The level of the drink does occasionally appear to drop. almost as if he were stealthily, but for the most part, he just appears to be nursing his drink. And he watches James as he does it, and once he pays for the cabs, he comes back. Leon says, "Well, that was really nice of you there."
Well, it's only fitting, Leon. We just because they're our food doesn't mean we can't treat them with respect.
Oh no, I fully agree with you. In fact, in some ways, they are, well, more gifted than we are.
Precisely. Each one is a delicate butterfly, all the more beautiful for how fragile his existence is. So I find it a poignant point to make sure that when they encounter one of us, that we influence their lives in a positive way. So therefore we're given something back.
Exactly. When it comes down to it, if one must be a monster, at least be a genteel one.
Do you really see yourself as a monster, Leon?
Some days.
I think that is a very harsh assessment on you, Leon. I think you're
It's a realistic one. Monster, well, monster comes from Latin and monstrum, which means hidden. It meant when a monstrum showed itself, that was always viewed as some sort of omen, whether for good or ill.
That is fascinating. Your tell on languages truly is a marvel to behold.
And not all of that is from today's Seeker of Enlightenment. I remember attending medical school at least twice, and once was when Latin was still a big part of the curriculum.
How are your endeavors, Leon, within the medical field?
Atrophied. I was a battlefield medic 3 times that I recall during 2 wars. And I'll be honest, I was a good one, and there was a lot of patching up that needed doing in World War I and World War II.
There were hellish times.
Oh, we just had the introduction of the machine gun into major warfare. That had never happened before.
Did you know that originally the machine gun mechanic for the rotation of the blades was in fact designed to hold a Ferris wheel? And the financier of the project said to the inventor, "What you want to do to make money isn't on entertainment. It's to let Europeans kill each other quickly."
And was that Gatling?
I forget his name.
Because it was the Gatling gun was one of the first real machine guns. And that one didn't really come into use until shortly after the American Civil War. At the time, Europe had been having pretty much every European military action had been against, well, people on wherever they placed colonies, like, for instance, against the Zulus in Africa.
Underdeveloped nations.
Yes, that's what we'd call them now. At the time, it was savages, or if we were feeling really nice, natives.
Oh,
But
how times change and yet stay the same.
uh, but I can say, now being a battlefield medic in the Pacific theater was, well, it had all of the wonders of being a battlefield surgeon in World War One and also dealing with the natives. They were, at least some of the places I remember, involved some very ingenious traps.
So tell me, Leon, if one of us is going to be taking the Primogen seat, and from your conversation, I think you're banking that it's going to be me. Tell me what's going on in the city. I've been a little preoccupied. How is your...
Um, there are still a handful of anarchs popping up, and we'll probably get those for the next decade or so. Some of them might have gone into torpor. They'll come up and go, "What the hell just happened?" Um, so there's that. As far as anything directly related to our clan, nothing major. So just be the standard and make sure we are getting what we need. The Toreador, I'm not entirely sure. Toreador looks like they might be having some sort of internal power struggle soon, if not already there. The Ventrue have a remarkably high number of people that do not want to become Primogen.
That's a little odd for the Ventrue.
Well, actually, I think they're all neonates once the elderly. Oh no, they're all neonates now. Because, yeah. As far as I remember, the only Ankyle are yourself, the Toreador,
And Mr. Adam.
Bossier, although he's practically an elder. Probably slept a bit. That would make a difference. So, as far as everyone else goes, the Nosferatu, I believe the only two active Nosferatu I know of, one of them is in my coterie and the other one's the Gaki.
I'm sorry, Gaki?
Yes. He was... Gaki is, it's what the Japanese call their hungry, restless dead. He's not the most personable of Nosferatu.
For some second I thought you had a Quaid Jin running around.
No, he's one of us. He's not one of those folk, but he was, as far as I understand, originally a Japanese. He apparently had his fighter crash into Australia, and then he was turned.
I see. What a marvelous souffle of different kindred we have within our city. Isn't that
Don't let the Gaki know I told you any of this, because I'm fairly certain he would try and kill me.
Oh, mum's the word.
But no, I do not, considering the way he tends to act most of the time, I do not see him taking up the Primogen seat. I don't know how many Bruja we have left now. I think it's just Stoneheart. As it stands, the two clans that seem to have the most power are the Toreador, because there's so many of them in the Tremere, because they actually know how to organize. And then we've had there's some newcomers. I know at least one new Toreador, one new Ventrue. met them at the trench the other night, and Volkov is still out there somewhere, but he's well. Some gangrel are willing to stay and talk. He prefers not to, but he does. But he does still stay in the area, as far as I understand it. So yeah, I think what we can probably expect is people either seeking to get out from under the thumbs of their elders and sires, or seeking asylum from same.
Well, there are only a few of us in our clan. Perhaps it's best if we open up a hand of friendship to these disenfranchised, give them a place and a direction, so we can all work for the benefit of the city.
Of course.
I have no aspirations to be a particularly aggressive political figure. I think we should just do what we do best, and I'll take our little hobbies and provide what we can. I take it that both of us have a vested interest within the medical community. I know that our Primogen does. Perhaps we can have a conversation with him over to see if we can ask to hold his Holden's in trust.
Well, I myself am not nearly as focused on medicine now as I was in life. A lot of my focus is, upon those who seek after something a bit more, which on the plus side does give me an ear on the ground for potential masquerade breaches.
I see. And how do you accomplish this, Leon?
Well, among other things, I'm friendly with a paranormal investigator. I know most of the people who set themselves up as would-be sorcerers, witches, and shamans. And they're the ones most likely to latch onto something that would be a potential masquerade breach.
I don't. It does not. I'm afraid our spheres of influence do not marry.
No, they don't quite.
But it does mean that we're not in competition, which is always a good thing. If I have any clients that wish to use alternative medicine or some voodoo witch doctor, I'll give them your card.
I can at least get them in touch with them. I can't promise it'll do anything. I'm the only one offering alternative medicine that works. And I'm not certain they'd wish the side effects.
You'll be surprised how much a placebo effect can help others.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about a placebo effect.
Oh, I know you're talking about the blood.
Exactly.
I think for the models hiring these charlatans, sometimes the very emotion of hope is a great healer. So I do not discourage people from their beliefs when it comes to dealing with the inevitable.
Yes. But I don't think we have any actual Hungans in the area.
Gungans?
Hungans.
You've been watching Star Wars.
No. Hungans are they're the voodoo priests.
Once again, it seems that you are quite the learned gentleman.
After when you were a man of science for most of your life, and then suddenly you become a thing from myth, you start investigating all of the other myths and seeing what might be true.
Myth is just a portion of the natural world in which has not been quantified yet.
Right. Well, for a given value, but no, I've done some look into voodoo and Wicca, which I love how many Wiccans like to say they're part of a centuries-old thing. That was invented when I was still alive. That was invented like just after World War II.
The occult revival, I remember it well.
Pretty much, actually, two religions were founded by two friends of Crowley, because he basically challenged them to do that. One of them became Wicca, which is very popular with the "I'm going to rebel against Christianity" crowd, but I still want to be somewhat Christian. And then the other one's Scientology.
Ah, yes, I have heard about Scientology. Wasn't it a science fiction writer that created that religion?
Well, he was a science fiction writer and an occultist. He and Crowley both. He attempted the Babylon working along with. What was that guy's name? There was a rocket scientist. I think his name was Parsons, who ended up losing his wife to to the man. All sorts of interesting stuff that some people would rather not become well spread knowledge, despite it being easy to find. What was it, Jack Parsons? I don't remember. But yes. Now, and especially from the 1980s on, you had another bit of revival into looking at older, more authentic recreations of pagan religions, considering that these things have a now even one of the most recent ones that was still around less than a millennium ago still has about 900 years of not really being practiced as a religion between then and now. It's kind of interesting to see how they recreate it.
My word, you have the academic memory for these hook kiss magics that can rival the Tremere.
Thank you. No, I
wonder if any of your research could be applicated in some of the Tremere. Perhaps your particular line of academic study will endear our clan towards the Tremere.
Well, I've already endeared my coterie towards Lavoisier, so there's that. So, who knows, perhaps we can broker some kind of deal.
They are a creepy bunch, but they do have their place.
As far as their magical might goes, that tends to vary from person to person, but I will grant that they can outpolitic the Ventru any day of the week. That said, the Ventru usually have them beat as far as money goes.
All little cogs into the machine that all tick away and work in unison. When it's done right, of course.
Yes. Now, it's always good to add a little bit of instability. Just a tad.
Well, it keeps everybody on their toes and at their best.
Exactly. Well, so, but yes, I do not know if our Primogen has actually left yet, but we're to tell the Archon who is to be our Primogen and who's to be our hand, since it's just the two of us. Should we flip for it?
Rock, paper, scissors?
I'll
tell you what, Leon, I suspect that because of the limited number of our clan, it will probably go over better with the other clans that I take the Primogen seat for the time being, because I believe that Primogen are not allowed to keep their coteries, and you're doing very well with your coterie at the moment. But if you want to raise the stakes and become Primogen, then all you need to do is ask.
I think for now for now, I'll do fine as the hand or sword or whip or whatever else we wish to call it. The mirror holder.
The second hand.
The offhand.
The offhand, huh? I like that. Perhaps we should go and go ridiculous, go rather ridiculous, and say Supreme Emperor of the third moon, just to really throw them a loop.
Well, and that we'd be acting in almost a stereotypical Malkavian way. That has, although I do like. This is from a recent recent as in the last 30 years, recent series of novels. How about The Gripping Hand?
Ah, I like that. I'll let you deal with the actual title. Gripping hand, the shaking hand, the waving hand.
The Queen's Wave.
I find that sometimes playing up to the stereotypes of our clan does us a lot better.
It does. People underestimate us.
That they do, Leon.
Although to be perfectly honest, I'm fairly certain you frighten Stonehand more than the Tremere, and he has more reason to be frightened of them.
Why, I do not know of any imperative reason why he should be so afraid of me.
It's because you're friendly. He doesn't trust that.
Well, next time that you see Mr. Stoneheart, then you tell him that I've got a warm cherry pie baked by Grandma waiting to be sent to his address.
I'll do that. No. Technically, if I were to take video of that, that could be a masquerade breach. What a pity. I'll just have to describe it to you later.
I wait with anticipated breath, Leon.
Yes. All right. If you're going to be the Primogen... Oh, we'll probably both have to meet with the Archon soon. I forget exactly what he demanded, but would you rather send him the letter, or should I?
It matters not. Either way, if you wish to send the letter, I suspect I don't even know where to post to the Archon. It's not like he's in the phone book.
No, but there's certain ways to get in contact with him if need be.
I think it'll probably be more prudent if I myself, and you may accompany me if you wish, have a little meeting with our Primogen before he shoots off back to the homeland.
Well, if he's still around, again, I'm not certain if they've left yet, but yes, if he's still around, we should talk with him.
Excellent. I will make the necessary arrangements.
Excellent. Now, I will, you of course know how to contact me, and I now know where to find you if you go off the radar. And yes, I'll see you around.
It has been a pleasure, Leon, as always.
Likewise. And with that, end scene.